Hi there, everybody. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. People are filing into the classroom. The bell must just have rung, the late bell, actually. I apologize. I'm a little bit late this morning, but on fire, ready to go, ready to talk about Siberian pine nut oil, which I never knew the significance of until this week when a client told me about it. So I'm going to tell you. But first, I will introduce myself. My name is Becky Montrone. I am a holistic healthcare practitioner with a degree in holistic nutrition. I'm certified through the American Association of Drugless Practitioners. And I am an herbalist. So Wondrous Roots is a space here. We have an open shop with many nutritional supplements, a lot of the things that we make here ourselves, and then also many other things that I carry for my clients and customers and use with them in private consultation. And you can just walk in or order online, shopwondrousroots.com. You can order anything that we have available as well, whether you are in touch with us or not as clients. And what else do I want to say? We are, we've been here in this space since 2012, December 2012. So that's a long time in this space, but we started out end of 2005 in Londonderry, New Hampshire. So I've been around for a while. Sue, who was with me in Londonderry, is with me here still 2 days a week, and she commutes over from Windham, New Hampshire. And then Mary, who is my dad's widow, Mary Wrench, is with us. That's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Dale, my husband, and then Krista has just joined. She just will be officially joining a little bit later in the summer after she moves here, but she's been here this past week in and out. So some of you have been able to meet her. So super excited about that. We are open 9:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. We will be closed July 4th and 5th. But otherwise, 9:30 to 5, you can reach out to me by phone, 603-439-2603, or from either of my websites, wondrousroots.org or shopwondrousroots.com. You can find each other website from there, those places too. So either one, and just go to contact us. That contact comes to my private email, and I'm the one who sees those and opens and reads and responds to them. What else did I want to say? So I work with clients regarding all kinds of health problems, from very mild or wellness to very serious and advanced. So if you're curious to know if I might be a good fit for you, reach out again, 603-439-2603, or from my websites. All right. I think that is my intro. And I think I covered just about everything. Oh, I know. Okay, so let's say if you want to participate, you can raise your hand so that there's a raise hand thing in your bar somewhere, whatever device you're on, you'll find it. And you can go ahead and do that. Then you can also raise your hand and I'll call on you. And I promise I'll watch so I don't make you hold your hand up for like 20 or 30 minutes like I did poor Joe a couple of weeks ago. And then I will also, you can also go to the chat and type in the chat, or you can go to Q&A and type in the Q&A. It's kind of all the same. If you go to the Q&A, I'll be the only one who sees it. If you go to the chat, you can always click whether you want everybody to see it or just me or just somebody else or whatever. I think we're pretty good there. Have good attendance today. I'm glad you're all here. I'm really excited again about this topic. I was going to talk about Parkinson's disease, and I still am. But last weekend, I spent very, very, very many hours working on this, and gives me great pleasure. So there's nothing I like better than like a day like today. It's overcast here, to go home and sit on my bed and just keep working on stuff. And I'll be finishing up the Parkinson's slide presentation this weekend so that I can do that next weekend. I think I will do a show next weekend because I'm going to be around, and because these are recorded, if people are busy and can't come live, that's just fine. But I'm excited about that. I'm 37 slides into it, and I still have so much to do. So, but I'm pretty pleased with it because Well, when I first started working on it, I was like, I was talking about what to do, how is Parkinson's caused, and then what to do about it. But I'm like, but wait a minute, if you're going to do something on Parkinson's, you got to really talk about what is Parkinson's and kind of go soup to nuts. So, and then I'm delving into all of the different supplementary things that I use for Parkinson's, along with the scientific data to go with it. And then I plan to put together not that it would be just like for any, but what I would typically do for somebody who comes to see me for Parkinson's, and what the daily regimen consists of. And then this will all be available on my website. I think that this is, again, it follows and feeds my passion for teaching and for sharing information that can be of huge, vital help in the here and now. Right now, people have these illnesses. Right now, people are at risk for these illnesses, but don't realize they are, the things they need to avoid, right? And right now, people can have help, because when you go to your doctor, and you should go to your doctor. I'm not saying if you have Parkinson's, don't go to your doctor. Definitely go to your doctor. But your doctor is going to tell you there's no cure for Parkinson's. This is the medication we have right now, carbidopa, levodopa. Maybe we can implant a device into your brain to help with the tremors and things. But right now, there is no cure. And I would argue that that's not a fair statement. And there's a lot more that can be done from that is scientifically based. And everything that I talk about, as you guys all know, who are with me all the time, is scientifically based. Like this man told me about Siberian pine nut oil for acid reflux. And then I looked for this, and I totally believed him that it worked. But then, you find the science, right? And you do find the science. So this is the joy of life. It's learning and finding things that are empowering. And how many times do those things go back to the things that are in our created in nature all around us, and in the foods we eat? And we just need the know-how to know what the real poisons are and no matter how well they're advertised, right? What the real poisons are that are killing us in the foods we eat, in sometimes in the mistaken health advice we're given, and where the real healing lies. And again, healing is always better before you're sick, right? Heal the disease before you have it by prevention. And so we are very, we're just really blessed to be in the circle of people who know and are learning about these things and utilizing them, putting them into practice for ourselves and for those who we are responsible for their care, whether it be people who are infirm in our families, or our children, or elderly, you name it. Pass on information to friends who might not know. So it is truly rewarding area of life. It's just, well, I think that's true about all of life. But in my particular line of work, it's very rewarding, because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything, right? So your health is really foundational to the success of your whole overall life. And that doesn't mean that people who have handicap, or people who have illness that they can't overcome, cannot live full and vibrant lives. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if we can get a better level of health for ourselves, it makes us much better for ourselves, but it makes us much better for everyone around us. And it makes us more vital to do whatever your contribution, whatever your field is, whatever your calling is, whatever it is you do. If you have your health, you are much more vital in the things that you're doing. And so, and the things where you are making your contributions in this world, and for, whatever, in your work, in your vocation, in your interests, in your ministries, whatever it might be. Our health is foundational. So, all right. So without further ado, I am going to open up I think I've said everything. If I haven't, somebody just tell me. You guys are good at doing that. All right. Now I'm going to open and share my screen. So just let me open this up first, but I think I can do that right now. Share my screen. Okay, share. And there we are. Bring my chat over. Whoops, no, don't bring the whole bar over. Just open my chat and bring it over so I can see if somebody's chatting. Oh, and you can talk about anything you want. You don't have to talk about acid reflux or pine nut oil or or Siberian pine nut oil or anything like that. If you have any kind of any kind of a health question, I love fielding questions like that. And if you have something to offer, something to add, because again, this is a learning circle, and I absolutely love the input. So here we go. All right, you guys should all be able to see that. Yeah, so this man came in for a new consult on Thursday afternoon. And in the course of the whole conversation, he mentioned that he used to suffer from acid reflux and that it was horrible. I mean, it was terrible. It wasn't like occasionally I had some heartburn. And those of you who suffer with acid reflux know what I'm talking about. I've not had acid reflux, and so I'm very thankful to say, but it is one of those problems where people come in constantly, and we have all kinds of things for you to try. You know, try a digestive enzyme formula that has some betaine hydrochloride, so you have enough acid at the time of stomach digestion. Try some mastic gum, because mastic helps kill H. pylori, which can be behind the damage. And mastic gum helps heal the mucosal damage from anything that might be causing, like it will heal ulcers caused by, say, too much ibuprofen. So we can use mastic. We can use deglycerinated licorice, right? Because that causes the mucosal lining to be better fortified. And so that's all really wonderful. And we can try to heal that up. We can do things. We talked about progesterone and hormone influence on the tightness of the lower esophageal sphincter. Okay, so that's the part of the lower end of the esophagus to the opening of the stomach. And it needs to, after you swallow something, it needs to clamp shut. It needs to just close, so you don't have stuff from your stomach sloshing back up into your esophagus. So these things are all well and good. Then we've got, I love the Silver Fern brand of products we have out there. We have upper GI relief formula. We have Reflux in 3 different flavors. It's artichoke leaf. It's a mucosal kind of thing. It's 3 different powders, and I can't tell you exactly what they all are right now. But all I'm trying to set the stage here is that this is a big problem for a lot of people. I just ordered again another like 8 bottles of the Amish digestive tonic, which is ginger, garlic, and aloe. And that people swear by. If you take it right after, it cures it in about a minute or something like that. So all of this to say, we have the troches, the Marilonghi from Italy, the rhubarb troches for relief of acid reflux. So why all of this? Because so many people have this problem, and it's not good, right? Number one, it's so painful. I've got somebody who's always here with me. Let me see if she is here. If she's not here, it's just like the first time. She's never been here, and it doesn't look like she is, but she'll tune into this. Dr. Kathy she wouldn't mind my saying that. A lot of issues with this. It's been a long-standing problem. So she's going to be one of those people to try this right away. So yeah, but it also ravages those tissues. And so some people end up with what's known as a Barrett's esophagus. So Barrett's esophagus is when your esophageal, you have intestinal tissue growing where in the esophagus where it shouldn't be. And it is considered to be precancerous. And then just the fact that you are so uncomfortable all the time and eating as much as you need nourishment becomes a huge problem. Some people have acid reflux that they don't feel any symptoms, but they still have it happening. And it can cause things like laryngitis, pharyngitis kind of thing. So anyway, that's kind of the backdrop there. All right, so people are typically, so my client told me that he had been prescribed one of the omeprazoles, the prazoles, like omeprazole or pantoprazole or something like that. So if you go to your doctor and you have acid reflux, you are actually, oh, she is here. Oh, good, Kathy. Hang on. Oh, okay. I just didn't recognize you. Okay. Okay, perfectly. And she says, yes, she's tried every single one of those things. And I mean, this is like, we are not going to give up, Kathy. We will not. You know, I'm Scarlett O'Hara at the, as, you know, with the carrots in her hand. I'll never be hungry again. Not me, nor any of my kin. Just, we will not give up. We will not give up. And hopefully this is going to, if this would be the answer, that would just be absolutely wonderfully wondrous. Okay. So anyway, he was on one of the PPIs. So the proton pump inhibitors, what you don't want, why you don't want them, right, is because they turn off proton pumps all throughout your body. So all well and good, they shut off the, and it's not well and good because it's not really fixing the problem. It's sort of a big Band-Aid, but it's shutting off your parietal cells' production of acid in the stomach. But the proton pumps actually are involved in many other things, like your cardiovascular health. They're in your cardiac function. You need proton pumps. And when you shut them off, you shut them all off. You shut all of them off. Okay, so great. I don't have acid reflux. You know, maybe in a couple of years I'll have a heart attack. So no, we don't want to use the PPIs as we know them, the purple pill, it's also known as. So anyway, they shut them all off. So anyway, let's dig in now. I was able to find, so first that actually is a shot of, that photo does come from Siberia. So this is the area of the world the Siberian pine trees grow in, and from which the oil is used for this purpose. Now, does that mean that pine nuts from other pine trees or whatever don't work? I don't know. I know that pine nuts in general, we see have many medicinal qualities. However, since I know that this is the one that has a reputation for this problem, I wouldn't say to people, you know, experiment around with different pine nut oils. Just go to the Siberian pine nut oil. You can easily find it and get it. So anyway, the Siberian pine nut oil is derived from the kernels of Siberian pine trees, has been utilized for centuries in traditional medicine due to its various health benefits. Here we go again. You know, centuries, Russia, Siberia, we're talking the wild, where people, every single culture in earlier times has found their medicines in nature. They all have. There's not one single culture we could point to that hasn't done that. And thankfully, many of those traditions and uses still are utilized, but they're also becoming, I would say, and I think those of you who study stuff like I do, this kind of stuff, don't you think, I think there's a resurgence of people really wanting to, people are becoming more and more disillusioned with big pharma solutions to things. And people are really sick and tired of being sick at the same time. So we're seeing a big resurgence, I think, and all of that. And I couldn't be more thrilled. Okay. This unique oil is highly valued for its rich nutritional composition and therapeutic properties. The oil is obtained through a cold pressing method that preserves its nutritional content and beneficial compounds. It has a distinct golden color and a mild nutty flavor, making it an excellent addition to various dishes and recipes. So, and that's really important, your source, and that it's cold pressed, and that you know that you've got a really terrific source. I'll speak to those because I'm going to some of their pages in a bit. But you just, and that's easy to do in today's modern world, to find. You don't have to take a trip to Siberia or have somebody send it to you from Siberia. So anyway, a rich source of essential fatty acids, which kind of really sort of piggybacks on what I've been talking about. I talked about sea buckthorn oil and the omega-7s, other things that are sources of omega-7s. And then omega-5 in pomegranate, and also found in like coconut oil. So these omegas, we're familiar with 3, 6, and 9 fairly typically, but then we have these other ones too. And a rich source of essential fatty acids and 3, 6, and 9 are pine nuts. Supports heart health, aids digestive health, which is where we're going to really focus on today, boosts the immune system, and promotes skin health, which wouldn't surprise us because fatty acids do. All right, so you can see here, this is the beneficial effects of pine nuts and its major fatty acid, pinolinic acid. There we go. Class, write that down in your notes. It's going to be on the quiz next week. Pinolinic acid on inflammation and metabolic perturbations in inflammatory disorders. And this is a pretty cool paper. Again, if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble and you're not familiar, maybe you're watching for the first time one of my presentations or one of my webinars, you can go to the description of the video and you can see there the link to this newsletter that I'm in. And then you can also sign up to get your own copies every time I do send out an email, which is typically every Saturday. Occasionally I send out a few others, but anyway, that's how you handle that. Okay, and let's see. So this is short. I'm going to read it because it's pretty cool. Inflammatory disorders such as atherosclerosis, so hardening of the arteries, your plaque lining your arteries, giving you cardiovascular disease. Diabetes, another big one. Okay, atherosclerosis, diabetes. 90% of the people that were seen at Cheshire Medical this week, probably those kinds of things, right? Rheumatoid arthritis. They're regulated by cytokines and other inflammatory mediators. Current treatments for these conditions are associated with significant side effects and do not completely suppress inflammation. This is very interesting. This was published in International Journal of Molecular Science. So this isn't somebody like that's outside of the world of medicine. This isn't something that your doctor would never read. This is, this is very reputable journal that any doctor could look at and say that this is true. Current treatments for these conditions are associated with significant side effects and do not completely suppress inflammation. The benefits of diet, especially the role of specific components, are poorly understood. Polyunsaturated fatty acids, PUFAs, have several beneficial health effects. And this is interesting too, because a lot of times I get down on the PUFAs because I'm talking about the cheap PUFAs, like the vegetable oils, the corn oil, the canola oil, those seed oils that are inflammatory. But there are good, healthy omega-6s, and we need them. We need them in proper ratio. So when we're talking about this type of a PUFA, we're not talking about like pine nut oil. The major studies on PUFAs have been on omega-3 fatty acids. So the polyunsaturated fatty acids do contain, most polyunsaturated fatty acids are high in 6. They do contain some 3. So it depends on it's the chain. I won't go into that right now. One reason I won't go into it right now, because I can't remember it all off the top of my head. But anyway, trust me on that one. But this review will focus on a less studied fatty acid, pinolinic acid. Okay, so we have leolinic acid, we have linolenic acid, leolinic acid. Okay, leolinic acid and linoleic acid. They're very easy to confuse. Those are PUFAs. Dr. Joseph Mercola, who has been on a big tirade against leolinic acid in recent months, coming from seed nuts. So he's all about seed nuts. Watch out for seed nuts. And I've kind of countered that a little bit, saying we need that fatty acid. We just need it in proportion. And we want to be careful of our sources, right? We want them from whole food, natural sources, not from processed foods that are just, are just so full of these cheap, inflammatory and easy to go rancid seed oils and vegetable oils. Okay. All right. PNLA, pinolinic acid, is emerging as a dietary polyunsaturated fatty acid and a promising supplement in the prevention of inflammatory disorders or as an alternative therapy. Some studies have shown that the health implications of pine nut oils and pine nut PNLA, pinolinic acid, in weight reduction, lipid lowering, and anti-diabetic actions, as well as in suppression of cell invasiveness and motility in cancer. So if I was going to pull something out, like what is the really cool part of this? Here we go. Some studies have shown the health implications may be weight reduction, lipid lowering. Okay, so dealing with your cholesterol, but in a healthy way, in a lipid balancing way, not in, oh, your cholesterol reading is high, let's just slam it down. Let's take a medication and just move that down. And anti-diabetic. So here, huge. As well as in suppression of cell invasiveness and motility in cancer. Here we have another one thing that does many things. So that's always what wins with me. However, few reviews have specifically focused on the biological and anti-inflammatory effects of pine nut, PNLA. Furthermore, in recent bioinformatics studies on human samples, the expression of many mRNAs and microRNAs was regulated by PNLA, indicating potential transcriptional and post-transcriptional regulation of inflammatory and metabolic processes. So that's at a deep cellular level. The aim of this review is to summarize, highlight, and evaluate research findings on PNO and PNLA, peanut oil, pine nut oil, and pinolinic acid in relation to potential anti-inflammatory benefits and beneficial metabolic changes. Again, inflammation is behind so many of our negative, devastating, and degenerative health conditions today, whether it be in the brain, whether it be in the cardiovasculature, whether it be in our metabolic, diabetes, things like that. Cancer, very, very huge inflammation, and certainly in the autoimmune illness area. In this context, the focus of the review is on the potential actions of pinolinic acid on inflammation, along with modulation of lipid metabolism and oxidative stress. Here we go again, antioxidants and oxidative stress, based on data from both in vitro and in vivo experiments and human findings. So we have the test tube here, we've got some animal here probably, but also human in vivo, including gene expression analysis. And that's where we get to the mRNA and the microRNAs. So something that helps, again, with an epigenetic effect, right? How your genes express themselves. What are epigenetics? If you know what your genes aren't doing for you, go in and do it another way. And so that means adding things like this that support gene expression, so that, okay, and support healthy gene expression and reduce dangerous gene expression. Like when a breast cell is interacted with in its estrogen receptors with a harmful form of estrogen, it becomes oncogenic to that cell, which means it's changing the expression of the DNA, if you will. And that's what we're doing with epigenetics, is we say, let's work. What's an epigenetic switch for that situation? Would be iodine, which takes all of the estrogen in your body, lowers it down to the non-cancer causing form, locks that form into all of the estrogen receptors throughout the body, and turns off that oncogenic trigger for cancer. That's the idea with the aromatase inhibitor therapies that you get from your doctor, such as letrozole or, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the other one that's a long one, and then also things like tamoxifen. Trying to do that, we can do that naturally without all the side effects that come with those drugs. So there, progesterone helps with that as well. So this is what we want to do. We want to butyrate. I talked about butyrate, and butyrate has that effect in many cells, this modulating of the gene expression. So that's epigenetics. So that's what I've done for myself to prevent Alzheimer's, which is a big risk for me, is using things that work around the things that my genetic defect is not allowing to happen. And I do that using different nutrients and hormones and things. So this is really cool. And so not only are we getting these fatty acids that do things that fatty acids do, but also having this this epigenetic effect as well in the body. Very exciting. So anyway, that's a whole paper there. So if you're interested in, really digging into the science, you can do that. And it's pretty in depth, as you can see. So these, the pine nut oil and the pinolenic acid inhibit oxidative reactions. That's really important. Dietary antioxidants may improve chronic diseases by reducing oxidative damage. Antioxidant enzymes are essential for cell defense against the harm that free radicals may do to cells and macromolecules. Two of these enzymes are phospholipid hydroperoxide, glutathione I got to say it. Glutathione peroxidase, of course, and superosmide oxide dismutase, also something that we make if we are taking in the things that are promoting all of that. When this oil was included in a meal given to rats, they showed elevated blood levels of both of these high antioxidants, glutathione peroxidase and superoxide dismutase. Ha 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 ha. It's a sign of lipid degradation caused by free radicals and is commonly used as a biomarker for measuring lipid peroxidation in cell membranes, which we don't want because lipid peroxidation means your fats went rancid and they caused inflammation and damage to your arteries, for instance. There was a reduction in this bad serum MDA level in the PNO-fed group relative to the control group. Additionally, in comparison to the controls, the pine high-fat diet group had the greatest level of superoxide dismutase 2 mRNA compared to the PNO and soybean oil-fed groups and soybean high-fat diet groups anyway, which might shield from damage due to ROS. Okay, anyway, so that's all good. We want that to happen. Okay, so you can look there. If you want to look further, you can do that. And then let's go here. All right, I was really thrilled that I was able to find this page. And this is where all this information comes from here, is in this little link here. And this is from this website that sells Siberian pine nut oil. And this is one that looks like a very reputable company. But I was glad to see in their articles that they had this, because it's exactly what I wanted to hone in on. It looks like they have an image that disappeared, but that's okay. Can Siberian pine nut oil heal stomach heartburn? Everyone experiences an unpleasant, exhausting burning in their chest. And for many people, this feeling poisons their life day in and day out. Heartburn can occur following a large meal, in diseases of the GI tract after taking certain medications, etc. Pregnant women can also suffer from heartburn because of their stomach is up, and people with hiatal hernia, same thing, like the stomach being up and pressing. You can have all of that. People try different things. Okay. The cause of heartburn is considered to be penetration into the esophagus of stomach contents containing hydrochloric acid because of the weakness of the esophageal sphincter. So that's what I was talking about. Abuse of food, or its low quality. As a result, a burning sensation occurs. Taking pine nut oil provides protection for the mucosa against the aggressive action of the acid, and the presence of specific substances in the oils has a gentle, calming, and anti-inflammatory effect. It sounds like a perfect, like a whole type of remedy. Heartburn may be treated with the use of various oils, but natural pine nut oil is especially effective in combating it. This oil does not have the shortcomings of other oils since it is obtained by the cold pressing method. This means it's possible to avoid the presence of admixtures of chemical substances that are necessary for the extraction of oils in large-scale production facilities. Mechanism of action of pine nut oil on the GI tract. The use of pine nut oil leads to the formation of a thin film on the surface of the mucous membranes of the esophagus, a film that mechanically protects the esophagus from the aggressive action of the stomach's hydrochloric acid. And the presence in the oil of vitamins and substances having an anti-inflammatory effect promotes the healing of damaged portions of the esophagus and the elimination of unpleasant sensations. The oil lowers the acidity of the gastric juice, which is the critical problem for patients suffering from heartburn. It is, after all, rarely observed in hypoacidic conditions. For that reason, in cases of heartburn, pine nut oil rapidly results in the elimination of the burning sensation. Okay, so it's a very nice rescue. It also assists in preventing the progressive inflammatory process that accompanies heartburn and the stenosis, the narrowing of the esophagus that it provokes. Okay, a lot of people have had that. Like I have esophageal narrowing. Some people have gone and had their esophagus, the esophagus stretched because of that reason. So this is kind of, I'm so glad I found instructions, because who really knows, but you can buy it in capsule form and it's promoted for that purpose. And I did not, unfortunately ask my client like how he did it. But he said it was instant. It was instant. And he doesn't suffer from this problem any longer. So, and he said he takes it on occasion, just on occasion, but I don't, as far as I remember, the way we ended up that part of the conversation, is not something he takes religiously all the time any longer. But that would be just for you to experiment with and see what. I mean, if it were me and I needed to take it all the time, I'd just take it all the time. But whatever. But this is very, very, because it's quite interesting. It's not just okay, just take a spoon of it. Okay, so you want to know how, right? Yeah. Okay. They're straightforward. I just made it sound really complicated, but 1 teaspoon is taken internally 1/2 hour prior to eating. This is sufficient for the gradual reduction of the burning sensation, but to achieve a lasting result, the oil should be taken for no less than 1 month. Okay. Now, it's going to say to us later here in this that I'm reading that you can't put it on a metal spoon. Well, I wouldn't know that. I mean, if I'm pouring oil onto a spoon, it's metal, right? I don't like take a big wooden spoon and pour a teaspoon onto it, but apparently that's what you have to do. So it's good to know these things. There is no point in using the remedy at night. Now get this, since it contains compounds that are assimilated by the body only under the influence of the sun's rays on the skin. I mean, does that mean you have to go outside when you take it? But it says the optimum time is considered to be the morning. Okay. This also increases, like take it before you go for your walk, your morning walk, if you're a morning walker. This also increases its efficiency, since during the night, the stomach becomes completely empty of its contents and the oil may fully manifest its properties. In order for the remedy to produce an optimal effect, it is best to keep to a diet, which means giving up excessively fatty, fried, spicy, and salty foods. In cases of concomitant pathologies of the GI tract, in particular, an ulcer or diseases of the liver, 1 teaspoon of pine nut oil may be mixed with milk and taken 3 times a day on an empty stomach. I was so thrilled that I found this image of somebody with oil and milk. Wasn't that great? I was like, oh, thank you. That was so cool. So that's kind of interesting. So some of you might want to pay attention to that, right? 1 teaspoon of pine nut oil mixed with some milk and taken 3 times a day on an empty stomach. Pine nut oil and nuts may be added to salads, but in moderation since they are high in calories. But that is, just forget all of that. These are good calories. And I just read in Josh Axe this morning too. I didn't put any of his link here on pine nuts in general. Not to worry about the fat, obviously. He said they're like almonds and that kind of thing. So you're not going to, believe me, especially with the price of pine nuts, you're not going to be overdoing it to the point that you're going to get fat on them. And we just read that it's good for metabolism and diabetes. Note, it is important not to allow nut oil to come into contact with metal, including metal utensils. Now that made me think, is that the reason that we, salad bowls are like wooden, nice wooden salad bowls and the things that you toss the salad with are wooden? Probably. I didn't know that. I just thought that was just, it just looks nice. But maybe there's something to that. Maybe we shouldn't be doing any of our, maybe tossing our salad and putting it on our plates. Then we eat it with a metal fork. I don't know. Don't ask me. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to switch to, I don't think I could find wooden forks, but I digress. Before beginning to take the oil, try this too. It is important not to allow the oil to come into contact with metal, including metal utensils. So you're taking this medicinally. So I'm not talking about your salad. I guess it would make a difference with salad too. But if you're just talking about cooking with it, do what you want. And if you think that matters, probably does. But if you're doing this medicinally, make sure you're not using metal. Before beginning to take the oil, a small amount should be placed on the inner surface of the elbow. After 30 minutes, assess the condition of the skin. If there is no rash, reddening, itching, or swelling, you should wait for 24 hours and again examine the skin in the relevant area. If there are no changes, it means that the oil may be taken internally. I did read elsewhere that allergy to pine nut oil is rare, but I think that that's a good precaution. And why not? You just have to have one more 24-hour period of horrible heartburn before you can try it. Despite the fact that extra virgin Siberian pine nut oil may be used safely in cases of heartburn with excellent results, it is recommended you first consult a physician, since a burning sensation in the chest can be a symptom of some serious illness. We all get that. According to the figures from research, the daily use of pine nut oil over the course of 20 days returns the condition of the mucous membranes of the esophagus and stomach back to normal, Kathy. In the majority of patients, the inflammation was eliminated and the acidity of the stomach was reduced by half. Its use also assists the elimination of gastroesophageal reflux, the basic cause of heartburn, accompanied by the backing up of the stomach contents into the esophagus. According to research that has been carried out, its severity was reduced in the overwhelming majority of patients. That's encouraging. It's a huge problem. If you suffer from this, you know what I'm talking about. I have people come in here. I've had this for 20 years. I've tried everything. It's very discouraging. This makes it possible to conclude that treatment of heartburn with pine nut oil is noted for its high effectiveness, since it has an influence both on the symptoms of the disease as well as on its causes. Patients with gastrointestinal tract pathologies should take the compounds prescribed by their gastroenterologist in the appropriate doses. Pine nut oil is only a supplement to the therapy being carried out. So they're trying to really make sure that they don't interfere with your medical treatment. However, I would say if you're on a PPI or whatever, that's what you want to get off. And you want to use something like this. That's the whole purpose, right? I mean, if you're on the PPI, then that's the thing. That's the problem. If it's because it will get rid of your heartburn. It will get rid of your acid reflux. So the whole deal is using something that gets rid of it so that you cannot be on one. So I don't have to cover my fanny that way. Use of pine nut oil in the treatment of other GI tract disorders. The benefit of pine nut oil in the GI tract disorders has been scientifically corroborated. The oil increases the effectiveness of the comprehensive treatment of esophagitis, gastritis, ulcers of the stomach and duodenum, cholecystitis, which is gallbladder inflammation, and hepatic cholecystitis, that's gallbladder, liver inflammation, reflux disease, bulbitis, chronic pancreatitis recovery following surgical treatment of stomach ulcers, oncologic diseases of the stomach, cancer, etc. That's profound. Wow. And I would say for somebody like Kathy, who's like worried about this because she's of the long history of this, the fact that it's anti-cancer, that it's that's helping with all of these different areas, that whole upper GI system, right? You've got your esophagus, your stomach, your gallbladder, your liver, now your duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine. And so it goes, but that upper GI system can wreak a lot of havoc for people. A lot of you, probably many people listening or tuning in may have had their gallbladders removed or been told they should have their gallbladder removed, or there's a lot of people with liver issues, and it is very good for the liver. So anyway, that, I don't know, that to me is just absolutely amazingly exciting. And here we have this, I found efficacy of Siberian pine nut oil and complex treating of people ill with benign hypertension. So, and going through basic hypotensive therapy, taking in Siberian pine nut oil as much as 17.5 grams per day is accompanied by cholesterol lessening effect, normalization of lipid spectrum of blood, the balance of your triglycerides, your different cholesterol things, HDL, LDL, small particle LDL, the balancing those lipids. That's what we want. We don't want to like suck this vital life substance out of our bodies, cholesterol, and call it a dirty name and just get rid of it. We want to balance our lipids so that the lipids are doing what they're supposed to do in the body and not doing damaging things that they're not supposed to be doing. Okay, normalization of lipid spectrum of blood, systolic, maximum benign pressure, and lessening of surplus body mass. So there's another thing. Everybody's like, well, how can I lose weight? How can I lose weight? What will help me lose weight? That's another thing. People come in and I'm like, it's kind of like one of those questions that it's not like, oh, here it is. Here it is. This is what you need. It's right here in this bottle. No, it depends on with everybody, like why you have excess weight. It could be hormonal, it could be your diet, it could be a number of things. And I don't have a magic pill, but we can see these different things and we can say this is another thing that it's helping. We've seen this help with. So to me, that would be like another reason to say, this is a good thing to add to my regimen is what I would do. Because as much as I think we've had pine nuts probably twice this week, and a lot of them I keep them, I buy them organic pine nuts and keep them frozen, and I throw them in a cast iron skillet and toast them and throw them on salad or whatever throughout the week. But I would not rely on that, and they're not Siberian pine nuts, I'm sure. But anyway, I wouldn't, pine nuts in general, okay, pine nuts, different species of pine nuts are very helpful. For this purpose, it's that we're talking the acid reflux, we're going for Siberian, because that's what the studies all are. And that's what they're talking about here. So you can, as I pointed out here, found this company looks really, really good. I've actually just put a query into them to see if they work wholesale with practitioners, because this looks really good, like something, see, using wooden presses. So there's got to be something to that. Premium quality, cold pressed, using wooden presses, not metal. So it matters. But there's this, and this is promoted for benefits, digestive health and aids gastritis, ulcers, IBS. So beyond just that, traditionally used in Russia, Mongolia, and China as an all-natural gastrointestinal remedy for such inflammation-related problems as peptic ulcers, gastritis, duodenitis, so that's the upper part of the small intestine, and IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, as well as a metabolism enhancer, there we go again with the weight, and a gentle digestive aid. Provides additional benefits as an immune system booster, physical endurance enhancer, and a well-rounded everyday dietary supplement for general health maintenance. And they say, take 3 soft gels thrice daily, with food or in between meals. If desired, this supplement may also be taken before bedtime. Well, that kind of counters what we just heard about the sunlight and stuff, so. In traditional Russian and Chinese systems of medicine, Siberian pine nut oil is known to help in maintaining a healthy GI tract, nutritionally support optimal digestive processes, contribute to the health of mucous membranes of the GI tract and beyond. And then based on what we just read, I would say, thrice daily with food or in between meals. It seems to me that it would be good to take them, like they said, the oil, right? Like a half hour before you eat. If you take it in capsule form, it would be easier. You have to worry about what kind of spoon you're putting it in to eat it, but all up to you. Just nice to know that there are other ways to do that. Um, okay. Yeah. So we just talked about that. Yeah. So this is another source, and I just ordered some of their oil this morning, this Siberian pine nut oil from this company, Siberian Tiger Naturals. And so they also make this super omega-3, which is wild flax oil. These look very, very high quality. And then the recipes are right here. So I just sent you to this page that I'm on right now. So pine nut oil tapenade, that looks delicious. Greek roasted pepper and feta dip. Oh yeah, that looks really awesome. Virgin pine nut oil, eggplant caponata. This is probably why some cultures very intelligently eat with their hands. Oh, see, there's the wooden spoon. Like, who knew? I gotta get some wooden utensils. Yeah, I mean, that looks delicious. That's my husband saying yum. We have to make that. Yeah, look at that though. Think about that, the utensils. This is like opening my mind because I never really thought about that. I did for honey. I know you're not supposed to put honey on metal. I never thought about it for these oils. That looks delicious. Fresh tomato sauce. Say you can add pine nut oil to a lot of things that you would just put nice oils in, whether it be your salads or your own sauces and things you're making, just to mix it up. Pine nut oil pesto. Oh, wow. That right there is just crazy. We're definitely, oh, well, yeah, that's okay. So pine nut, that's how you make pesto anyway. It's pine nuts. Typically, it's pine nuts, but now this is also using the pine nut oil. I've never done that. I've always used olive oil and pine nuts. So, okay, and that looks really good. Eggplant dip. I love eggplant. I love eggplant. It does. If I eat a dip like that, though, a lot of it, I am sensitive to the salicin. No, what is it? It's not the salicylic acid. It's the solicin. Anyway, I will get joint aches like later in the day if I eat. I made one Christmas, I made this delicious eggplant dip, and I ate a lot of it because I loved it so much. But anyway, it's a little aside. Russian leek and potato soup. This looks really good. We're big soup people at our house. Where's the, okay, some pine nut oil, not a lot in there. Italian shrimp bisque with artichokes. Oh, wow. This is making me really hungry. I've only had, here I am, your nutritionist at lunchtime on a Saturday. And what have I had this morning? I've had decaf coffee and popcorn, but I did pop it myself. And I was out of my good coconut oil, so I used really nice extra virgin olive oil to pop it in. So just so you know, I did pay attention, but it's Saturday. Mom, can I have popcorn for breakfast? That's all I've had. So I'm getting hungry. This is like really kind of resonating with me. Mediterranean fennel and mushroom soup. That looks fantastic. I am so excited I hit on these recipes. Aren't you, Dale? Yes, he is. Aren't you, Dale? Yeah, he is. And then salads, the authentic Mediterranean Caesar. This totally looks authentic because authentic has Worcestershire, lemon, anchovy, olive oil. Now olive oil and the extra virgin pine nut oil. Yum. Orange spinach salad. No picture. That looks fantastic. Oh, there it is. Oh, thank you. That looks really fantastic. Country style fresh summer salad. Yum. Ah, she's got a metal spoon. This looks delicious. Summer salad with pears, raisins and pine nuts. I haven't seen a single one of these that I would not want to make and eat. And that looks like arugula. Oh no, that's young spinach. That looks like arugula to me. Well, it looks like what they did was they tried to find a photo that sort of looked like their recipe. Main course, here we've got a nice pasta with pine nuts and pine nut oil, olive oil, Italian fish stew. Wow, now I'm really totally hungry. Pasta with roasted vegetables, crusted shrimp with mushrooms and potatoes. Wow. Fennel and escarole stuffing with pine nuts. Wow. I bet you that would be a good stuffing to try. Greek onion pie. Wow. Roasted chicken breast with salsa verde. Oh. I think we could do that. I say that because yeah, that looks really, really good. And then this penne, pomodoro fresca, desserts, coconut cake, lemon blueberry, homemade peanut butter, peanut and almond butter. Oh, that looks really good. Anyway, and then there's a bunch of them using their wild flax oil. So food, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food, and let food be thy fun and fun be thy food. That's what I would say. I love food, and we love to cook. We love to, oh, so Cindy is saying, Healthy Digestion, the Natural Way by Dr. Lindsay Berkson is a great book. One thing that helped me was drinking room temperature beverages. Cold slows down digestion. Very interesting. Thanks for that tip. And healthy digestion, I'm actually going to write that down and get that. Healthy digestion. Add it to my reading list. And I agree with you. It was so funny because when I went to get my water, when I got to do this today, we have like cold in the dispenser, hot, and room temperature. And I got room temperature. I usually do just because I feel it's gentler on my throat. It's gentle, right, than cold water. Sometimes you like cold water because it's just really refreshing if you're hot. But it just feels more soothing. And here I'm going to be talking. I didn't want to like contract my vocal cords. I wanted to keep them limber. So that just kind of was like a natural feel. Like I want room temperature, not. I also think warmer temperature beverages, they taste more full. You taste them better. Like even if you're having warm room temperature water with your food, it would not dilute or take the edge off the full flavor of the food. Does that make sense? But I agree with that. That's good. So anybody out there, Healthy Digestion by Dr. Lindsay Berkson, Berkson. And I think that would probably be useful if you have a very useful tool if you have problems with your digestion, because there's a ton of great tips in there, things that you might not think of, have thought of, that might make something small that seems small that might make a significant difference for you. So I think with that, if nobody else has anything to contribute or what have you, I am going to think about what I'm going to eat next. How about you? So anyway, thank you for being with me today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. It is the holiday week. A lot of you might be taking some time off because of the natural 2 days that a lot of people get. So a lot of people like to take their vacation this week to take advantage of only 3 vacation days out of your vacation allotment. But whatever, I do plan to be here next week. And I plan to do the Parkinson presentation webinar for the webinar next week. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks for being with me. And